Hi everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel. So today we're gonna put up this eucalyptus bush rose that I've been growing since I think last year it was, or maybe even the year before it. No, it must have been last year that I started sowing the seeds. These were seeds from Australia that I brought with me. Don't tell anyone, I'm not supposed to do that, but I was like, let me try. As lots of gardeners of course do, we really enjoy to bring plants from holidays and other places. Most of the time you should not do that, but if it's seeds you can try to bring them. Just make sure that customs, that it's okay to bring them into Europe, and also that people, that you don't destroy the environment in where you're living. So as you can see, it's definitely time to pot this up. It's been growing in, as you can see, I'll take this away, just normal potting soil, but I've realized that it really needs more of like aerated soil, because it's like sometimes struggling a bit because it gets overwatered. So that's why I'm gonna take it out of this plastic pot. I'm gonna plant it in some terracotta today. The size of the pot is just a little bit bigger, but for now that should be still okay, because it doesn't have that many roots. And also I just want to give it some more air in the soil. As you can see, there's this little cute baskets covering the sticks. I'll take all of this out, the sticks, and put them back later on after repotting, and then I'll tie it up straight so it can keep growing in a straight line, because otherwise it's just gonna flop and hang everywhere, and I don't want that. There's two more plants next to it, two more babies. I will just leave them in. Might be that one of them or two of them don't survive in future, so that's why I'm leaving them. And this is for me at the moment the most important one of the three. So let's start. I'll put this down for now. I'm gonna move you down so you can see what actually is happening here. You won't see my face, but you can see all the other things. Let's see if that's gonna work. Maybe, yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I already have some soil that was mixed up with perlite, but I will need some more. This is soil that does not have a peat in it, but it does have some pieces of wood and other ingredients. I will try to see what the ingredients are so that everyone knows. It's this brand, which is a Dutch brand, Culvita. So this soil has, let's have a look. I'm actually not sure if it's a Dutch brand, but I bought it in the Netherlands. So it has some kind of bio ingredient, which I'm not so sure what that is. There's green compost in it, some wood fibers, and from French trees, some bark. There's also some lava meal in it, and some calcium, and some organic fertilizers. That's it. So difficult to say what exactly is in it, but it seems like a soil that's kind of okay, very full of pieces of bark and other ingredients, so that's a bit lighter already than the soil that I used before. So for now I'm gonna just take some scoops of this, put them in my mixer. You can see my mixer, my vintage ashes tray that I used like years and years ago here in the Netherlands to collect the ashes of the fireplace. So I'm mixing up some extra soil. not too much because I won't need that much. I'll add some perlite now. Quite some perlite. Make sure that you don't breathe this in because it's not healthy. And then it's just mix, mix, mix. As you can see, I use this big scooper, which is one of my favorite things that I ever bought actually. I used to work in a plant shop and we used to sell them, and the first time I saw it I was like, oh, I should buy this, I need this in my life. And then I did, and I think it's like one of the best things you can use for like mixing, for replanting. Yeah, like really ideal. And I actually see now that it's coming undone, so that's not great, but I'll make sure that I fix that in the future. The brand is Escher Design, which is a brand you can find, I think, all over the world actually. So if you see it, definitely buy it because it's worth your money. Then let's mix this up a bit more. Okay, that should be okay. Then I'm using this terracotta pot, which has been used before, so it's a bit aged, which I like. I'm using one of these pieces of a broken terracotta pot, which I sometimes actually use, as you can see, to write names on of plants that I start, which I also did with the eucalyptus before when I started sowing it. That's because I don't want to use markers and then just throw them out if it doesn't work. You can of course also use something like a wooden stick, an ice stick that is, and also something like this would be lovely. Let me see if I can get one. These copper little name tags, which I will actually use when I finish replanting this. I'll give it a proper label so that I know what it is and that it will just look nicer. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I'm gonna take my broken piece of terracotta, put that in the bottom. I do that so that it prevents some soil from falling out when I water it. And then I'm gonna fill the pot with some of this mix. Quite some, because I will try to loosen up the root ball and also actually remove some of the old soil, because I've seen that there are some gnats flying around it, so that's never a good thing. Can't really prevent that, but that just happens. So for now I'm gonna try to take this out without breaking the whole thing. I need something that's that will collect the soil. Let's see if it works like this. I can reuse some of this soil, but not all of it. I want to try to make sure that there's more air in the soil. So as you can see here, it has some roots, but it could have been many more of them, to be honest. Like yeah, for the size that it has, it should have looked better, I think. So the soil is very wet because yesterday I watered it. So I'm just gonna take out all of these big chunks of soil that are too wet, and I will reuse that just in the garden itself. I'll just throw that around in the garden. I'm trying to not break too many roots, but I'm also trying to just get rid of the soil that is so damp, because that's not good for this plant. So that's much better already. As you can see here, you can see a little bit of like sandy soil. That's actually what I used when I sowed it. And then after that I was like, oh, let me add some extra soil so it starts to grow better. But that soil was just too damp and too a soil that holds too much water. So that's why I'm now changing it into something that's more airy. Okay, so let's take this away. Let's take our pot. I'll try to plant it in the middle so it looks nice when it's growing. And now it's a matter of just backfill with the new soil. And I'll make sure that I don't overwater this at this moment again, because the roots were a little bit damaged and you don't want your plant to stress even more after getting too much water, because it might start to then die back completely. So I'm making sure that I keep it on the same level as it was in the other soil. And I slowly am like pushing the soil down a bit around it. I hope you can see it. Some more. So I'm slowly also pushing the soil down so it makes contact with the roots. And now is that moment to check if it's on the same level. And I do definitely not want to have this in the soil too deep, because that might actually make the plant start rotting at the base of it. That's what we should really avoid. I'll add a little bit more, just a tiny little bit, because after watering in the future the soil level will go down a bit, so that should be okay. That's it for now. That's enough soil. I can always add extra soil later, but you don't want to do that now. So what I'm now going to do, I used to have 2 sticks, but I'm just going to use one of them because I think that's sufficient for now. I'm going to put in the stick next to the side where it's actually flopping, because I want it to grow more this way. If I would put it on this side, I could also do that. Might actually be even better. But now I can tie them all in at once on one side. So let's see. I'm just gonna cut this off. The old string that used to be here, that's gone. And now I'm gonna check all of them and try to make sure that they're all together on this piece of stick, or on the stick. I'll get some rope that's here. Maybe I'll try to tie in these 2 first, and then the bigger one later on. I will use, I think, 4 pieces of rope for this. So I'll start with these. I'll start tying them in at the bottom, so they have support right there already. Like this. And then this I'll leave, that should be okay. But this one I will still tie in. And I'll try to tie that in quite high. And what I will do is try to make a little loop that's actually attached to the stick itself. So I'll just go over it like this. Maybe I'll tie that in right there, just like that. Then it's stuck, and then I can tie this in safely without damaging it. As you can see, right like this. Not too tight, because that might damage the stem. And then like that. And if I in the future see that it actually is starting to get, the stem is starting to get too thick, I will definitely cut this off. That's very important, because otherwise it will start to grow into the string, and that's never good. So that's something I should look out for. And now I'm gonna tie in the bigger one. And with this one I'll start actually at the top instead of at the bottom, because that's just gonna be easier. Take one of the pieces of string again. For this one I don't have to tie it in, I can just do like this, very gently, like that. And I'm not sure if I should tie it in once again. I think that's actually sufficient for now. Yeah, so I'll leave that. So that's it. We repotted this beautiful eucalyptus, and now I'm gonna give it a label, a new one, a proper label, to show that it's actually something that's being appreciated. Let's see. This was the eucalyptus bush rose. And I will also on the other side write down which year I sown it and also which year I repotted it, so that I know for the future how fast it actually has been growing. So sown 2022, replanted 2023. Okay, so as you can see, this is the label, and then on this side it says when it was sown and when it was repotted. And now I'm gonna put the label in there, so I know what plant it is. Put it right in here. As you can see, looks lovely, new and fresh. And now I can put back my silly basket. That's to make sure that I don't poke out my eye whenever I do this while watering. So that's it. We replanted this. I'm quite happy with the result, and I really hope that from now on this plant will be like, woohoo, I like it, I want to grow more, I'll be more healthy, and I'll grow in a straight line instead of being floppy and going everywhere. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little video and that you've learned something. And we're gonna end with a little view of this cute little greenhouse. Thank you so much and have a lovely day. Bye.